Ali,
Here.
Nadia Flamenco,
Here.
Anthony Sujisaka.
Here. All right, thank you. We will now move to the Pledge of Allegiance, and we are going to have our students, our spelling bee winners, come up to the podium and do the Pledge of Allegiance for us. Yes, please come on up to the podium. Just like you do every morning.
Wait, we start. Okay. Okay. I know most of you. Okay.
Is the mic on?
Okay. Put your right hand over your heart. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, students. All right, so we are going to move to the approval of the agenda. If I can have a motion in a second.
I
Or
move
if
that we
anything-
approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, now I move on to the special presentation. Spelling Bee. District Spelling Bee Facilitator Fiona Hansen, Vice Principal of Benjamin Franklin Intermediate School, will introduce the 2025 Spelling Bee grade level winners and the District Spelling Bee champion.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jessica Pace, and with me tonight,
Hello, everyone. I'm Fiona Hansen from Ben Franklin.
we're here this evening, and we are going to be presenting about our district spelling bee.
Power switch. Thank you.
Thanks.
It may take a second to load.
Okay. Thank you for your patience.
No worries. Yeah, Ms. Scott, do you want to do that for
Okay,
them, please?
great,
All right, Ms.
thanks.
Scott will just
So,
slide it for you.
This district spelling bee is huge. All our schools are involved. It exemplifies all the kids who really, really like to read, write. They practice words, and some have a natural ability, and some have the ability to study. But it is something that, you know, I've realized over the years that we've done this, that kids get excited every single year. So it's really important to acknowledge everyone. So that's all the winners from all the schools. And then these kids and the runner-ups. The runner-ups don't compete, but the winners compete. And from there, we get our finalists. And being a finalist is a very scary thing to be. They have to, the final list is not memorized. They have to know the ability of how words are related to one another, the prefix, the suffix. They have to, think about how the words are formed. They can put it in a sentence. It's quite a hard task. So I'm very proud of all our 5 finalists. They are going to come up. They have something to say so that you can get to know them. Let's click one more picture. We had a lot of a lot of people watching. We had people volunteering, and without this event, we can't do it without volunteers at all. But with that, we will have our grand champion come up, introduce herself, and tell you a little bit about her.
Juliana, come on up.
Hi, I'm Juliana Salcedo. I go to Thomas R. Policida Middle School, and I'm in 7th grade. I actually turned 13 recently, too, on Sunday last week. A couple of my hobbies of mine are drawing, playing on alto saxophone, and sometimes reading, but only if I like the series. Like, for example, Yosuba. Most of the time, I'm just online, though. Honestly, I didn't prepare with much rigorous studying since the following week I was really sick. I was actually even considering not showing up or losing quickly because of how sick I was, but obviously that wasn't the case. I did look at a list of words given to me an hour or two before the actual spelling bee, but none of them were actually even in there anyways. Most of the words I just spelled from the top of my head because I already I understood parts of the word or I just knew it well already. If anything, I'd like to thank God first. Most of the win was from me relying on Him because I just prayed the whole time, and I'd also like to thank my friends and family for some of the support I got before and after the spelling bee. That's about it.
Have a certificate for you.
Congratulations, we're so proud of you.
And would you mind just waiting up here? We do have our other finalists come on up. Winston, why don't you come up next?
Hello, I am Winston. I'm 14 years old, and I was one of the spelling bee contestants. About my family, I do have one younger brother that really likes to annoy me, and especially when I was studying for the spelling bee, he really liked to annoy me. I like to read, play video games, and swim. How I studied for the spelling bee was that I learned the definitions and I did repeat the word out loud too. I did like that the spelling bee did teach me words that I will never use ever again. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Winston. Why don't you come out and sit up front here? We have, is this Peyton? So we have all our contestants were going to be here tonight, but I think some are running a little late. They all did RSVP that they were coming. Annika? Peyton, come on up, Peyton.
Hi, my name is Peyton. I go to Franklin D. Roosevelt. I'm 11 years old. This was my first time to participate in the school district spelling bee. A strategy I used during our school spelling bee was practice using flashcards and writing and spelling the words on paper. This helped me memorize each word on the list. I'm glad I made it this far, and I hope to join again. My other hobbies is playing basketball and art. Thank you.
And we had two more runner-ups. We had Annika and Absidy Blair, but I don't see them in the audience. Was anyone else?
Oh, great.
I didn't see her. Come on up. Is it Annika? Yeah, come on up. Annika, I didn't see you back there. No, is Absidy in the hallway by chance? Did you see him? Okay, so they're running a little late. But again, we just want to thank all the volunteers. These kids are amazing. I don't know if the board has anything to say to them, but otherwise thank you so much, and that's our presentation.
Thank you so much for the presentation. So before we move on to comments, we'll actually let's do comments first if we have any, and then we'll give out our certificates. We have certificates for your students as well. So we'll start on my right.
I want to congratulate all of the winners and participants in the spelling bee, and want to thank all of the teachers, volunteers, organizers, everyone at Ben Franklin, and Ms. Hanson and Ms. Pace for organizing. It's always a great event, and yeah, just wanted to say quickly, Juliana, very impressed that you did this while ill. That's amazing. Winston, I think you might be surprised that some of these words will pop up again in your life, so don't say never again. And Peyton, really glad to hear that you want to do it again. We encourage all of you to do the same. Thank you.
I echo my fellow trustees' sentiments. I want to just say thank you to everyone that participated, and thank you to the participants here today. Juliana, happy belated birthday. In Winston, I actually used to do the spelling bee, and I thought the same thing. Now I impress my friends with words they've never heard of, and they're like, okay, that. Can you tell me what that means? So you may be able to use it just to, make people confused about what you're saying. Just use a hard word that's really easy. And they're like, we could have used the easier word. I just want to say, absolutely keep going at this, Peyton. You never know, you might be the grand champion next year. And so I want to make sure that you guys keep going. The sky is not even the limit. You can go wherever you want to go. So congratulations again.
Before we move on, it looks like we have one more spelling bee champion coming up.
All right, this is Absidy Blair. He is from Ben Franklin, and he made it just in time, so I'm very proud of him. Here's your certificate, and would you like to read a little bit about yourself to the board?
Hello, everyone. My name is Absidy Blair Sangel. I am 11 years old. I was part of the district spelling bee. I really like being in the spelling bee because I really like to read. My family and I came from the Philippines. I only have one sibling. My hobbies are sports such as volleyball, basketball, and badminton. In my free time, I like to do those activities or play video games with my family or friends. What I wanted to be when I grew up was originally being in the army, but now I am unsure what my career should be. How I trained and studied for the spelling bee was I would learn the prefixes and suffixes of words. I would study with my dad and we would read all the words on the list. If I got words wrong, he would mark it. After we read all the words, we would go on to the marked words. When I first arrived at the spelling bee, I was shaking very badly. But when I took deep breaths, I calmed down. And when I was ready. After I won the 6th grade spelling bee, I was shocked. I didn't expect to win the spelling bee. And when I arrived at the stage for the whole district one, I was nervous spelling in front of everyone. I was disappointed when I lost it, but was very happy that I got there in the first place. One thing I'm excited about is my 12th birthday. My birthday is on the 27th of May, which is in about 2 weeks. The best thing about my birthday is that I will be going on a field trip to Six Flags on that exact same day. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Absidy.
All right, so thank you. I want to just say that I'm very inspired and I'm glad to see all of you here tonight. This is one of the best things about being on the school board for us is actually getting to see you and hear from you and actually see you come here and show your courage to speak in front of us and the public. So thank you.
And I want to say that this was my first spelling bee assistant, and I was nervous for you. I was hitting my nails like, oh my God, and I was trying to do it by my own, and you guys were so prepared that all your courage, all the staff that volunteer, I was surprised how all the staff managed all the event, and it was really excited. And thank you guys for showing your talent, your memory, and your courage to speak in public, too. Good job.
All right, I can't say too much because I'm biased. I'm a judge, but I got to see all you before, and again, every year is a new experience with the spelling bee. Even though I've judged the spelling bee 3 years in a row, and every year is completely new. We choose different words, and I'm always so shocked to see how far you all get because we chose these words intentionally to make it easier and build on, but then you all just kept going. Every year we have to add more and more words. So I just wanted to say how impressed we were with your spelling. And even when one of you / the whole round got the word wrong, it still just kept going. So that was very nice to see. So thank you for what you do and continue reading. All right. So now we are going to hand out your certificates and we will start on my right and come back this way.
Okay, I have 2 certificates, Certificate of Achievement, the Spelling Bee, and Certificate of Appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony for Peyton Panlasigwi.
Don't forget your mystery bag.
So I also have a certificate of achievement and participation in the flag ceremony. However, I know that my person is a little shy, so I do not want to force her to come up if she does not want to. However, I will still recognize her name out loud in public, and then if mom or anyone wants to come afterwards to get it from me, I'm happy to just hand it off. And so I just want to congratulate Anika Simpao for all of her hard work, and congratulations.
All right, Certificate of Achievement is awarded to Absidy Blair, second runner-up for the 6th grade Ben Franklin Intermediate School for outstanding achievement in the 2025 Spelling Bee.
And I have the Certificate of Achievement and Appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony and in the spelling bee to Winston Fun.
All right, and I have a certificate for participation in the flag ceremony and grand champion of the 2025 spelling bee, and a mystery blue bag for Juliana Karen Salcedo. Also, let us know what's in them. Anyway. All right, thank you. We are now going to move on to our next item. For everybody in the audience, we would like for, if you have the time, to stay just through item 6C, which is just board member comments and superintendent comments, just so you can hear what we have to say. Then, if you all need to go, please stay. All right, so we will start off with board member acknowledgements and commendations, and I will start on my right.
Okay, well, there are so many exciting things going on at this time of year. The spelling bee is a great example. We have academic, athletic, different events. And I want to thank all the schools for working so hard to organize these really enriching, important events for our schools and our community. One event I just want to call out that I got to attend at the end of April was the District Arts Fair hosted by TRP. And just amazing how much talent that we have in our district. I was blown away by all the performances, from the tinkling to the all-star band to the poetry spoken word and all the beautiful art on the wall. So thank you so much to Principal Jennings and Vice Principal Desi Kachari and all of the JESD staff, parent, administrators, and the parents and students who were there that night and participated. It was a great event. Thank you.
So I want to wish all the moms that are online and that are in the crowd happy belated Mother's Day. I know that you guys do a lot of work in the background and in the forefront, and it does not go unnoticed. And so I just want to say again, congratulations to you for making it this far. It's a hard job. Second thing I wanted to acknowledge is I know we just celebrated our 2025 Student of the Year. We had our celebrations recently, and so I want to congratulate all of the 2025 honorees. I believe today is Teacher Appreciation Day, California Day of the Teacher. So that is also a hard job, and I want to just say thank you to all of the teachers for all that they are doing. That hard work does not go unnoticed. And then I also, obviously, we're coming to the end of the school year. There's a lot of things going on. A newsletter did go out today with regards to some information needed for registration, open houses. I also believe something went out with regards to free lunch over the summer. And so if you have not read your email yet or seen that information and you need access to those services, please read that email or reach out, and someone will be happy to get you more information or direct you on to where you need to go.
I would also like to acknowledge and commend all of our teachers. Also, last week we had Teacher Appreciation Week, And if today is California Day of the Teacher, that's great as well. I didn't know that. So thank you to all of our teachers for helping to prepare our youth for their future.
And I also was able to attend the Student of the Year recognition from 2025. And today was our Employee Recognition Day. Thank you all the staff who worked so hard and got awarded this week also for Mother's Day, Teacher's Day, Nurse Day, California, and all the events. So I feel really happy to see all the celebrations and how even we were able to attend the mariachi band. It was really, really good, really good. Thank you for everybody, all the students who took their time to practice. I know music is really hard to accomplish, and it was really interesting to see how much time you put and how good it is for your brain to learn an instrument at an early age. So keep going.
I like going last because they said everything already. Okay, well, first of all, we have our open houses coming up. I know that Superintendent Nukul is probably going to mention that soon. What else? Well, I want to also acknowledge, as much as it is California Day of the Teacher and Mother's Day belated, we have 2 moms on our board, and we also have a teacher on our board, so I'd like to give them a round of applause for California Day of the Teacher and Mother's Day. And then lastly, happy belated birthday, Juliana. Oh, that's right. Now it's time for superintendent comments. There you go.
Yes, so you all shared a lot of what I was going to share, so I'll just be brief. This is a very busy time of year and a lot of celebrations. As you said, I want to congratulate first and foremost our spelling bee champions. You all did a wonderful job, and those are really hard words. Quick question, what was your winning word? You don't even remember. It was so easy. So I want to thank you for all your hard work and learning those words. And it's hard to get up in front of everyone. Also, as Trustee Flamenco said, we had our employee recognition today. I want to thank Ms. Santa Cruz, Mr. Brent Valenti, for all of their hard work and our whole team. It was a great event. We were standing room only at one point, so a lot of good vibes and great recognition and honoring our retirees and our milestones. And then Student of the Year, I want to thank our principals that helped coordinate it, Christina Sanchez and Rochelle Ewan. And our art fair, I want to thank our principals that coordinated that, Nuala O'Sullivan Haley and Padma Desicachari. Last week, we had, I think it was last 2 weeks, we had the middle school track meet over at Westmore in the freezing cold, as always. Many hours for all the staff and students, but it was a great event, a lot of cheering. I think I lost my voice cheering on some students too. And then next Thursday is open house for elementary schools. And so in the newsletter, if you want to look to see what time, there's lots of events happening at all the different schools. And then on the 29th is middle school open house. And then I'm also visiting all the Daly City libraries in the next couple weeks during their story time for the young children coming into the district, hopefully, to try to see if we can get some enrollment. So those of you out there, if you want to come to the Daly City libraries for story times, I'll be there introducing myself and letting you know about enrollment. But if you need to enroll, we're enrollment pages on our district, and we just encourage everyone to check out our schools for open house to see all the great things we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Mikulik. All right, item 6C, persons wishing to address the board. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is under the board's jurisdiction and not on the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. We will display the 2-minute timer on the screen. If the timer ends, I will stop you if you go over. As a reminder, the board may not discuss or comment on any items not listed on the agenda or expressed during communications public comment. We want you to know that we will hear you and ask our superintendent to follow up on your comments. Please make sure you leave your name and contact information with Ms. Covere so our administration knows how to reach you. Ms. Covere, do we have any speaker cards? All right, tell them to line up later. Anyway, thank you. All right, so now if you need to head out, we understand. But you are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. It's going to be long and boring. No, just kidding. No, we have a lot of fun here. Congratulations once again. All right, item 7, consent agenda. The administration recommends approval of the following consent agenda items. If we have any comments or questions, otherwise I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, this is a roll call vote. Ms. Covere, may I have you, please?
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Ali,
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco,
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, and we move on to item 8A. Resolution number 25514A, Classified Employees Week. The administration recommends adoption of the resolution number 250514A, designating the week of May 18th to 24th, 2025 as Classified Employees Week. I will now read the resolution. Whereas Jefferson Elementary School District classified employees preserve preschool through 8th grade with great distinction, and whereas Jefferson Elementary School District employs a variety of classified employees to support the delivery of an exceptional education program for all students, and whereas the public has caused the state and federal legislatures to set a time specific for public school employees to be honored for their work on behalf of children, and whereas the classified employees of Jefferson Elementary School District are dedicated to the idea that all students serve the best possible educational environment, and whereas this environment could not be created without the various members of the classified unit dedicating themselves to their specific area of responsibility, and whereas the classified employees of Jefferson Elementary School District work with other employee groups in the district to form a district-wide team to ensure students learn and are safe, and whereas the classified employee of Jefferson Elementary School District have proven an integral part of the team to implement modified school operations, support student learning, provide much-needed meals, and institute best practices to clean, disinfect, and prepare school environments for learning. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the week of May 18th through 24th, 2025, is Classified Employees Week and will be recognized and celebrated across Jefferson Elementary School District. All right, if there are any comments or questions, otherwise I will take a motion.
I just want to say thank you to our classified employees. I know that a lot of times we say, thank you to the teachers up here because they're the ones presenting, but I just want to make it known that we do recognize and understand that without you all, we would not be able to run the district the way we have been. So just want to make sure that you are aware that we appreciate you, and obviously this resolution is just that in writing. And with that, I say a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Covere?
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Ali,
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco.
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Item 8B, resolution number 250514B, supporting education workforce housing legislation, AB 1021 and AB 1381. The board will consider adopting resolution number 250514B, supporting education workforce housing legislation, AB 1021 and AB 1381. Superintendent McCool?
Yes, so I'd like to give a little background. We're not going to ask you to read the resolution. It's a really long one, but it's really, it's new legislation, and so we're asking you to consider supporting it. Our district has workforce housing, but many districts do not and are looking to incorporate workforce housing into their district, and so this legislation would help make the process easier. We did have some challenges trying to go through the process, and we would like to support other districts in making the process smoother for them, and making sure, we've been a resource to other districts. Mr. Ali has been, or Trustee Ali has been on a panel recently with me, or with our Director of Facilities and Maintenance, Mr. Bill Heath. And so I think having us support this resolution, or having the board support this resolution, would have a lot of weight to it with this legislation.
Thank you, Superintendent McCulloch. All right, if there are any comments or questions, I'll take a motion. Otherwise, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Oh, sorry, I had a question. This one also will bring some potential support for the teachers to own.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the workforce housing helps teachers and classified staff live in the community that they serve. In it, especially for high rent areas, it gives below market housing so that they can save and hopefully either purchase their home or save so that they can live within reason in an area that's really expensive.
And also to hopefully save up to be able to afford something to purchase in the area as well. All right, if there are any other questions or comments, otherwise I'll entertain a second.
Second.
All right, this is a roll call vote. Ms. Covray?
Mr. Rashba?
Aye.
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Ali?
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco?
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 8C, proposal for consulting services, School Services of California. Lynette Hodson from School Services of California will present a proposal for consulting services to support the Budget and Facilities Superintendent's Advisory Committee with addressing the district's structural fiscal needs, or fiscal deficits. Proposal costs not to exceed $32.5 thousand.
Good evening. Do I need the microphone?
Yes, you do.
Okay, I will use it. I'm Lynette Hodson. I actually worked for School Services. I've been with School Services for 3 years. Before that, I worked for school districts for 32 years. I was a classroom teacher. I was a site administrator. I was the director of special education, and then I became the assistant superintendent of student services. So altogether, as a director of special education and assistant superintendent, I was in the program side for 12 years. And then I switched over to the business office for the last decade of my career. During that time, I became an unintentional facilitator, I will say. I facilitated conversations as a teacher through quality management teams. Back in the day, Lockheed Martin had a pilot program, and I happened to be at the school site that was doing that work. And I was able to facilitate leadership teams as a teacher, as a teacher leader. So that was my first foray into facilitation. As a negotiator, I was trained in interest-based bargaining, which is a facilitation as well. In special education, I was a trained IEP facilitator. I was also trained by the Bar Association as a mediator for alternative dispute resolution. And then finally, probably the most difficult work was part of program improvement schools. And we did a lot of work with leadership teams to reimagine what was happening in schools. And more recently, now with School Services, I've had the opportunity to facilitate budget advisory committees. I've facilitated school closure committees. Those are not fun committees to facilitate. And just generally conversations with management teams as well. So that is some of my background as a facilitator. I'm going to talk a little bit with you about the difference between a presentation and a facilitation. I'm not sure that this is going to work.
I don't think it works, so they'll switch it for
okay.
you. So just let Scott know.
Yeah. So facilitation, this is an overall graph of what a structure of a school looks like. So there are the formal structures, there's processes and procedures, and then the patterns that happen to make the work function in a school district. And the bottom is the relationships that people have together, the identity that the school and the school district has in the community, and how information flows. So this is just a graphic of that, and facilitation is in the middle and really has to recognize that you have the structures and also those personal relationships. And in order for change to happen, you actually have to recognize both of those. Many times, we in schools really focus on those structures and processes and patterns and forget to build on the relationships. And so the facilitation process really is recognizing that. Sometimes people believe that the facilitation is like an icebreaker activity, and it really is not that. Facilitation is recognizing that you need to have a team that has the ability to have trust and work together, but you're working together on those structures and patterns and procedures. So it is different than sometimes when I talk to my colleagues, they will say, oh, you're doing that fun facilitation thing. And they really think it's an icebreaker and it's a team building, where true facilitation is really looking at those structures and patterns and working on the team building simultaneously. The next slide. So this is really to talk about the difference between presentation and facilitation. In a presentation, which there's many, many times in our world, a presentation is important. The information is presented, and the presenter decides what information is being presented. There is an opportunity to ask questions, and there's an opportunity to provide input typically in a presentation. Where in a facilitation, it includes all aspects of that presentation, but it also gives the participants the ability to access information on their own. And that is different than just having the information that is presented and the presenter wants them to have. So really being able to say, this is how you find this information, this is how you read it, and if you want additional information, these are resources as well. And the facilitation also provides a structure for all participants to be heard. Sometimes in a presentation, you have the same people that will ask questions. You have the same people that will provide input. In a facilitation, it is really structured to make sure everyone has an opportunity to ask questions and provide input and be heard. And that is the role of the facilitator. Sometimes there is a question about should the facilitation happen internally or externally? With difficult conversations, it is important that staff have the ability to participate fully and to fully listen and not have to manage the actual process of the facilitation. I have successfully facilitated conversations within my own district on topics that were easy to facilitate, but I recognize that there were times that I tried to facilitate a difficult conversation, particularly around budget, and I needed help from someone else, because when people asked me a budget question, my body language would be shake my head, those type of things that were not intentional, but it really didn't build the structure for all participants to be heard. And again, so those are some of the reasons and positives of having an outside facilitator come and look at these difficult situations. I am going to say that true facilitation takes time. There are districts that are going through difficult budget decisions right now and have not necessarily taken or allowed themselves the time to go through true facilitation. So I applaud you for looking at the structural deficit and saying, let's talk about this now before it's an emergency, because I can tell by the way you have your vision and your goals as a board that true facilitation is the way you really are looking at things. So I applaud you for that. Let's look at the next slide. So part of the decisions will really be about program decisions. What are the design of the programs? What are the number of locations? What curriculum? All of those type of things. What are the class sizes? What staffing levels for pupil support are needed? Looking at the facilities and making sure that you can meet the community's needs. So these are just some of the topics that the facilitation would go through. Some of the other topics that that I understand are necessary is, are there other ways to generate revenue? Are there ways for us to increase our attendance rate, increase enrollment? Are we looking at all of those? Are there competitive grants out there to help us meet some of these needs? Because I truly recognize that the board's goal is to make sure that all of the impacts for whatever happens budget-wise stays as far away from the students and has as little impact to the educational programs. that is offered. So I want to recognize that and make sure that you know that as a facilitator, I've heard that very loud and clear from the staff. And again, I can see that from the way your board has organized everything. I think the next slide is just a repeat of what you already had up on the board. When I walked in and I saw that, I was like, I didn't need to include that because that's how you operate. And I will say, our company right now is in the midst of putting together the May Revise. So I'm in Sacramento. I drove over here and I told Josie this. It's like, I drove over here because it really is important that you ask questions. I work with some districts that are in crisis, that are checking the box and saying that they want a facilitation, that they want the input from the stakeholders. But I probably wouldn't have driven 2 hours to be here for that presentation because I do recognize that there's a difference in somebody checking the box and somebody who's saying, we really want to take the time and honor our community and our students and do this right. So with that, I will answer any questions or anything else I
have a
didn't
question.
add. Yeah.
Can you tell me a successful story you had in your experience as a facilitator? How did you support a school?
So I can tell you that I have successfully worked with bargaining units to go from a place where they were talking about going to fact-finding, and we sat down and had meetings with the bargaining teams, and they were able to negotiate and come to agreement at the table without going further. So I've had that personally from the program improvement side at a school district. We actually reorganized our grade level configurations for all of our schools collaboratively with our leadership team using facilitation. And that was, again, a 6-month process to look at that. And we reconfigured those in the next school year. We saw significant changes in our student outcomes. But the only reason we did that was because we worked with everybody. We could have just, as a group, said, we're going to change our grade level configurations and do the procedures up at the top, but really we needed the input of all of our community and staff members to make those changes work and have an impact for student achievement. So those are just a couple of things that I'm the most proud of. I will tell you also that I worked in a district that did not make the budget changes that they needed to make, and they were in a crisis. They had a huge turnover. I came in after the fact to rebuild the staff. So I was there for 6 years after they went through a budget crisis, and it was devastating to them. And so having that experience is part of the reason I am even more committed to it. If there's a district that wants to make those changes ahead of time before it becomes a crisis, I want to help them and make that happen for them. Because I lived with people who didn't do that. And the staff and the students suffered from that. And we were able to rebuild, but it took time. And nobody has to do that if they don't have to.
All right, so we are out of time on this subject.
Sorry.
So if we have any more questions or comments, I'll need a
I'd
motion.
like to make a motion to extend time for 10 minutes.
There's a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. All right, so thank you, Ms. Flamenco. We will now go on to Trustee Ali, if he has any questions or comments. Nope. All right, we will now move on to Trustee Jordan.
I just want to say thank you for driving all this way to talk with us. We definitely like to be more proactive and less reactive, especially when it comes to our students. We don't want to be in dire straits before we're making decisions, and we need hopefully some insights from other outsiders to allow us to see things from more of a neutral standpoint. So my question is with regards to community and staff input. What is the process of getting that input and I guess collecting that data? And then is there any any feedback that's given back to them about what is going to happen, or is the expectation that they just see what happens after they've given that feedback?
So you asking about the community at large or the actual committee work?
The community at large, because I think it says that the community at large will be allowed to be in the process, and so what does that process actually look like from start to finish?
I believe that what we talked about in the last was actually having a community meeting for the community to be able to give input. That will be different than the community giving the recommendations. So my vision of that, and I'll be honest with you, will depend on what the committee believes is the best way. I could tell you some different ways I've done it, but I will tell you that I've worked in 3 different districts, and each district has a different need because they are very different. So my recommendation as the facilitator would be to talk to the committee first and say, okay, how does this work? How will your community respond and provide the best input? That is what I believe as the facilitator the best practice would be. And certainly if you all have thoughts, I would be more than happy to engage in those. A good facilitator, there are dozens of facilitation strategies to be used depending on the size of the group that you're looking at. So what the facilitation we would use that I would use with the committee is different than the facilitation that I would use in a big community at large. With big community meetings, I've done something as simple as spend a dot. It's like, these are the things that are the priorities. You all get 3 dots. I've seen that work. I've seen surveys work using SurveyMonkey. So there are just different things that can happen, but it really is depending on the community that your group sees as important.
And maybe this question is for you, Superintendent Mikulik. Once that committee meets, how will we be informed as a board on the progress that's being made from these conversations?
Yeah, great question. We were talking, once this is approved, hopefully it is approved, we were talking about that the committee, just to give you a little background, would be comprised of like 25 to 35 community members. We're already working on the survey that would go out, or a form that would go out asking who's interested in being on the committee. It is also with 2 board members, or 2 representing the budget and facilities, Trustee Rushbaugh and Trustee Ali. We were thinking the first Wednesday of the month starting in September, 2-hour meeting, like 5 to 7. So we were just thinking of structure. And what we would hope to do is after each meeting, we would send out a communication after the meeting. The committee would develop what would be the message. We would work with facilitation, and then we would send it out. Depending on timing, it could go with the newsletter, it could go out separately. And then, so everyone would be informed at the same time, and then we can also bring it back for board meetings as well. So we were thinking it would be about 7 committee meetings, seeing how this schedule goes, and then we would also have community meetings throughout the process as well, maybe like midway. I mean, it kind of depends on how the committee is formed and who's on the committee. But we definitely want to make sure we have every school site represented, we have every bargaining unit represented, we have community members represented, we have like our Citizens Oversight Committee, all the different organizations and committees that are part of our district would be represented on that committee. And so it's going to take some time to look at, how people are represented, how different groups are represented, but that's why we're gonna hopefully get this out in the next couple weeks once this is approved, and then have people let us know by end of August so that we can have our first meeting in September, so that we can determine who would best fit on the committee, because we don't want over-representation of one group and the other, so we'll have to balance that as well.
And one last question. Based on the time frame to start, how long does this usually last for?
It typically will take most of the year. So I believe my understanding is the goal is to have a report to you all about recommendations in April.
Of 26?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
So it really is a full year process.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right, Trustee Rushbaugh.
Thank you. That answered a lot of my questions. I guess quick follow on the districts that you have worked with. I'm curious if they have been able to stick with the time frame that you set, or if an extension was needed in your experience? I'm just wondering how commonly, how easy it is to stick to the timeline.
We have been able to stick to the timeline. We have had to, and I will tell you that some of the timelines we recommended that were too short, but we were able to stick to those timelines. There were a couple of meetings that we had to extend to make them longer to meet those timelines, in particular in one district where the timeline was very constricted, but we were able to make that happen. I would not anticipate that being the case. If the committee wants to stay later, like one meeting, because it's like, oh, we just have these, last things to wrap up, I would see that possibly happening, but I cannot imagine, based on the timeline, that needing to extend it beyond next spring for you.
And just one other question, thank you, Superintendent McCulick, for laying out the important representatives of this committee. I'm wondering, in your experience, how much have you worked with, like, other outside experts? I imagine there might be a need to know about, different financial or other areas where outside expertise is required. How commonly does that happen in your experience?
That sometimes happens in a facilitation. Typically actually in most facilitation there's a presentation, and sometimes the presenters are district staff and sometimes they have outside consultants that do it. Depends on the structure of that district. A smaller district has more consultants typically. A larger district is mostly internal. Mm-hmm.
All right, so just a time check. We have 2 minutes. If we need more time, we can motion for it. But Trustee Ali and then Trustee Flamenco.
Yeah, I needed to listen more before I asked any questions. So I have one question is, what are your deliverables? Just quick bullet points.
The deliverables, as my understanding, it really is a report with the recommendations for how to move forward. So there would be a report that happens at the end of that, our series of meetings.
Then my other question is somewhat related to it. Trustee Roshbaugh was just asking. I guess it might be for Superintendent McCulick. If we don't have the consultants doing this, who would be doing this work?
To lead the facilitation? Is that what you're asking? If she wasn't leading it? Yeah, it would be me leading it. And then that, like she said, it would be hard for me to be a participant. And I want an outside person so that it is unbiased. And I actually had been doing other research to see other consultants before we found Lynette from School Services, and this is a very reasonable rate. I was getting $150,000 for a little bit less work, and so I was excited to see that School Services, School Services was very reasonable, and I think that is, and this is actually within my approval limits. I didn't need to bring it to the board, but I wanted to because I want to be transparent.
Thank you.
I was one of you, so when I look at bills, it's like I look at it through the lens of a school district.
And my question.
Hold on a second. So thank you. That was why I asked the question, because $32,000 to the public is actually not that much money. I know for these services and what you're talking about, and I know that you could have done this without bringing it to, so I wanted to hear, I needed to hear that, so thank you.
And my question is,
Before I'm going to interrupt you, can we get a motion for more time, please?
Move to extend by 5 minutes.
second.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. If the recommendation can have the emergency things that we need to do, the short term and long term, is that something that you have in mind, or does?
Do you think that, I guess, I did not think about doing a short-term or long-term, but if that was the way the report needed to be written, we could certainly do that. And if there was a need to have something happen immediately because of, what happens at the state budget, we would certainly be able to look at that and consider
add on
that.
to
I
that.
wouldn't be opposed to it.
As we've shared with the community, we're really being proactive. And so, 2027, 28 is really when we have to take action. And so we have several years. And so I don't know if we necessarily, there might be some short-term solutions, but we really are looking long-term.
Right.
All right, well, thank you for your presentation. I have a couple, well, I only have, they actually asked all the questions that I had, so thank you to my fellow board trustees for asking all those questions. I will say I really appreciate that we're, and this is, I think, more directed toward you. I really appreciate that we're going with someone outside, just because, especially from working in schools, it is always really, it's not that we don't want to trust district leaders, but it always is, it's easier when there's someone who's unbiased, someone who's, their own job or their own stakes are not on the line, who's guiding the work and really helping us to see from an unbiased perspective. So I want to appreciate the district for bringing this to our attention, especially since you didn't need to. So just to clarify from my learning, is this a presentation or a facilitation?
This is actually a presentation.
All right, okay, thank you.
If there was a facilitation, I would have a whole lot more questions for you.
Oh, no.
I could bring those out if I had time.
And then my last thing's actually for Mr. Valenti. Could you check on that clicker, please? And see if it's just, if it's not running. But otherwise,
It might be user.
if anything else we need to.
At the next presentation.
Because I know we have a couple more presentations tonight, so I just want to see if that's okay. All right, thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have anything else? Thank you.
I just want to say, Superintendent McCulick, please refrain from telling the higher prices so we don't get higher prices the next time.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, so this is an action item, so we do need a motion and a second. All right, I motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Looking forward to working with you, Miss Hodson. All right. Section 9A, Latchkey After School Program Updates. Matt Feldman from Latchkey will provide updates on the after school program at FDR School. And then I don't know if the clicker's working, so you can just, yeah, I don't think it's working. So yeah, just motion to Miss Scott over there. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Earlier this year, you heard presentations from our after-school support providers, minus Latchkey, and he's been very patient with us, but very excited to share the Latchkey after-school program at FDR tonight.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Feldman. I wrote some cue cards because I will talk about how fabulous our program has been, running for 45 minutes, an hour, if I had the time. So please let me read off my cue cards and don't judge me too bad off that. We've been running the Latchkey program for over 40 years, providing before and after school care. We were graciously given the opportunity to run the ACES and ELOP funded after school program at FDR this past year. My main job has been to organize, problem solve, and support my staff and my students, and to bring stability to the program. There's been quite a few changes at that location over the last couple of years. We are a family-run business, and that word family really encapsulates kind of how we run our program. We're starting here, so before we get into this slide, I have personal relationships with every student and every family at that school. I am on site about 12 hours a day, I feel like, from about 6:30 to 6:30. But a lot of the credit has to go to my wonderful staff. They are amazing. Some of my staff who is now doing the after school program has been with us for like over 12 years, 13 years. So they have been fabulous. And again, my job as like program leader is just to give them support so that they're able to focus their attention on the students and give them the support and the care and the love that they need. So my staff goes like above and beyond. They take their work home. They come to me with what they need, supplies, materials, any of that, and I am all for it. As long as the students are coming first, and that's really what we do. So if we can go to the next slide. This is just a sample of our classroom sizes. So as Jen said, we kind of got pushed a little bit. This was I want to say October, November. Our retention has been really good at the program. I think we've had like 3 or 4 students drop out, and it wasn't care reasons. It was, whether it be a working parent not working anymore or something like that. So I think right now we're at 103 students, which is pretty good. Okay. So these are just some images of in our classrooms. We've been really lucky. Our after-school program, our teachers have designated classrooms, so they're able to decorate and celebrate holidays. We had a pumpkin patch for the kids. Anything that we can do to make the kids feel supported. Each class got to come up with their own classroom name, some things like that they do. We had holiday parties, Xmas parties, a lot of food projects that we like to do, as you see in some of those pictures there. These are our classroom newsletters. So these go out to all of our parents about bi-monthly, every 2 weeks or so. It kind of gives the parents an update of what they got going on in the classroom. You can see announcements, communication with parents is really the key there. I think that's when I met with my staff before the program started. I said, what do you guys need? And there was no way for them to communicate with parents. So this was one of our ideas that we came up with to really build that bond between parents and that after-school teacher. These are just a picture of our quiet corners. It's a long day for kids, They're there early. They're not leaving till 5:45. So especially some of our younger ones, they get a little agitated and a little shaky towards the end. So we really work on redirection. We do some meditation with the kids and some reading. So really providing that quiet space for them is helpful. These are some of the photos of the wonderful enrichment we had this year. STEMsters, Toyology, cam.edu, YCP, UPB basketball, and then we had a wonderful math festival, that photo up there on the right-hand corner with everybody. So we're really lucky. We have a very large playground, so we're able to spread out our class. At the beginning of, or at the end of school every day, we send out our schedule. So every one of our teachers kind of knows what they have going on that day. You have UPB basketball from 3:15 to 4:15. We have our supper time from 4:15 to 4:45. So really bringing that organization and just that leadership to the program has really benefited us. Before you go to that next one, so the next slide is a video. I'm hoping that it plays, but I just wanted to give you some feedback from some of our students.
You are out of time. If I can have a motion to extend time.
I move that we extend the time for 10 minutes at least.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
My favorite thing to do last program is play basketball and
makes me very happy, and it makes me feel like that I'm accepted and I'm loved.
So I don't know if my slides got a little bit out of order, but can we go to the next one really quick? Thank you. Perfect. So this is an application that I brought in. It was like almost mandatory. I had to do. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Brightwheel. I saw it on Shark Tank actually, but it tracks our attendance. We are able to send parents photos, videos. Teachers are able to send direct messages to parents right there on the app. And my favorite part is parents are able to upload their contact information. So instead of running to my office and digging through my files, which are there, Jen saw them, yes. Miss McKay, I have to thank Miss Michaela for that. But every parent contact is right there. I just push the button on the app and I can call mom, dad, anybody they have approved on there. So it is fabulous. That's how we send our newsletters out. If a student has a doctor's appointment or something like that, all that communication goes through there. So it has been a lifesaver for us. We added it to our program about 4 years ago. Very happy. All of our parents are ecstatic with it. There's no voicemails or missed calls or anything like that. It's all right there and it's all tracked right there. So I think the next slide is kind of just a little bit of how it is. My teachers, I'm able to track their time on there. I'm able to track attendance because I know that's a big thing for the ACES funding and everything like that. So all of that is on there. I think one more slide is how parents have the app on their phone. They scan that QR code. And then this is our staff bulletin board. So this is up year-round in our MUR, all of our teachers with their background there, our school calendar, our lunch, our supper menu, and then events and resources down there. You see we have the basketball. I was the athletic director for the basketball. We have our subsidized care there and any school events that are going on there as well. If I have some time, I did attach a 1 minute and 5 second video from our YCP Youth Cinema Project video. It's amazing. So if we can play that, and then any questions, I'm happy to answer.
We have a lot of presentations tonight, so I'm actually going to skip the video.
No problem.
And what we are going to see this presentation, or the YCP, yeah. But we're also going to see it at they're separate. Okay.
No
Thank
problem.
you so much. All right. So then I'll open it up to board comments and questions, and this time I'll start on my right.
Yeah, so I can not only react to the wonderful information that you've presented tonight, Mr. Feldman, but I can give personal testimonial in that my children were in the Latchkey program for several years, and I can't emphasize enough what a positive experience that was for them. They started this in the difficult days after the pandemic, and we were just coming back, and it meant so much for my kids to have the opportunity to interact with other kids and learn and engage in a supportive, well-run environment by you and your staff. So we will always be grateful for that. And yeah, everything Matt spoke about is I can testify is so true. He puts a tremendous amount of effort into the program. Him and his staff, it is a real community resource, and they continue to innovate and add new programs and resources every year. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
I am actually blown away by how organized you guys are. It just seems like you have everything just organized in a way that makes it simple for everyone to just focus on their job, and the parents to focus on what they should be focusing on. So I just want to commend you all for that. Brightwheel, question on that one. I saw that the parents can they check their kids out using the app?
Yeah, so that's how I do my attendance tracking too. So I can go back all the way from the beginning of the year and see what day they checked out on December 11th and who checked them out as well.
So I would just maybe say for the other after school programs, because I have my kids at another school and I'm happy with that after school program, but it is paper signing in and out. If there is a way to recommend something else, just because that just seems we're saving trees. It's more organized. You don't have to go through and figure out, oh, who signed what and when. If a fire or flood happens, it's in the cloud. It just seems like it makes sense. And so let's do what makes sense and keep it simple. And again, the last thing I'm going to say is I really appreciate you incorporating the students' feedback because a lot of times we just hear from the adults, and hearing it from them really makes it feel much more special. And having so many students say that they felt loved and they felt like they belonged, I mean, that's all we can hope for. And so commending you for all the hard work and your teachers. I'm really impressed. So thank you.
Thank you.
It always brings me joy to hear that word latchkey, knowing what that means, and being one of those children. I think I've said it here before that I went to the latchkey program at the Stonestown YMCA, and the whole purpose of that is that students or children who would have to go home and no parent was there and take care of themselves. So it's great to hear, as Trustee Jordan says, that the students know that they're accepted there and they're loved and they belong there. So thank you for the great work you're doing.
I got to explain to everybody what latchkey is all the time. All the new generation, they ask me, what is a latch? What is latchkey? So.
I heard from other people, and they mentioned good things about your program. And even I heard people saying that they wish that they can have your program in other schools. I have heard that many times. But I can see the compromise you have with kids as well. And my only question is if you see that we can incorporate more kids, or is there needs is there a waiting list or?
So I got rid of my waiting list. Again, when I put this presentation together, it was way back when. I got rid of my wait list, and I only had 4 or 5 students on my wait list. So I had like 104, 105, and then it's right now right at about 101. And there's no wait list. I have an extra staff that I pay that floats, so she is able to get me in ratio if I'm ever under ratio. So I know you mentioned that is my main job, is just to support my teachers so that they can teach and they can give that care to the students of what they need. I know the year before they were having to do management and everything like that, and they were, going crazy. So now that is on me. I have a few more gray hairs this year, but that's okay.
But whatever you're doing, I hear your name a lot outside.
All right, so can I get a motion for 5 minutes, please?
I move that we extend 5 minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, so I only had one quick question, then I had a few comments. So for the newsletters, first of all, love that they're digital. Do you solicit feedback from parents on the survey?
So
on a survey?
It's not so much a survey. I know the district kind of did their survey for the end of the year of how the after-school programs were going. The newsletters go specifically to the classroom, so just those students who are in that classroom, and it really just is to communicate with the parents. In that one photo, we have our checkout table. All of my group comes together at the end of the day to do checkout, so parents are able to ask their teacher any questions that they have. Teachers are able to communicate with their school day teachers and relay information there. So it's really like an open line of communication for them. The newsletter really just updates them on what art projects they're doing, any enrichment that's going on, and then what the teacher, after-school teacher, is really trying to implement that day or that week.
Thank you. And the only reason I asked that question is because that's something that most of us, we usually ask this to most of the after-school programs, like how are you receiving feedback if something is misaligned or someone wants to give feedback or say something to somebody? Is there a way for them to do that? I love that that's really open.
And also you're looking at them. Any parent that comes in, I am right there at the door to greet them, say hello, to have them in our little side room over there to answer any questions or do anything, any concerns that they have. That's me.
And then everything else I was gonna say was just all just like appreciating your mental health that you all incorporate, the app, and everything else that my fellow board trustee says. And it is evident to us that you've been doing this for a very long time. So thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, and we are now moving to item 9B, Contracted Services, the Latchkey Alternative Center LLC. The administration recommends approval of the Latchkey Alternative Center LLC after-school-based program contract in the amount of $334,800 for the 25-26 school year at FDR School. This program will be funded by ACES and the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP. So if we have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Quick, before we move forward, Superintendent McCullough, can you please remind us with ASES or ACES, because we said it several times tonight, with that acronym?
It's been a long time. I apologize for
After School
having the
Education
acronym.
Service?
Do you know it? After School Education
I
Services?
think so.
After School
We
Safety
have it here.
Education Services?
That's
I
another
will
S.
have to get back to you on that. I apologize. We'll put it in the minutes once we find out. We can put it in the minutes.
Okay, thank
Spell
you.
it out.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
All right, so we have a motion.
And second.
All right, and I think Trustee Rajpa is placing his reputation on this vote. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Latsky. All right, we move on to item 9C, Student Services Updates. Ms. Stephanie Martinez, Program Director for Student Services, will provide information about the district's counseling and socio-emotional learning practices, including student, staff, and family survey results. There you go.
Hi, is it on? Yes. Good evening. It's not just me, as you can tell. I have some representatives with me, and I'm so excited because we've never been able to present together. So this is really exciting. So I have Jamie Maciel, who is our school counselor at George Washington, Bridget Rudolph, school counselor at Ben Franklin, and Nadia Guzman, school counselor at Thomas Edison. Thanks, Pam. All right, so today we're going to talk about some of the highlights. This is a sliver of what we're doing, but I thought data would really help you understand and see the impact of the work that they're doing every single day. So I'm covering the elementary slide. As you can see, one of our number one interventions this year was student workshops. This is a new part of our model in our ASCA model, which is where we have a high need of delivering information or education on like a topic that maybe more than 15 students need, but not the whole grade level or not the whole school. So it's a workshop. So it could be one workshop or it could be a series of 3 workshops. So for example, one of the workshops that I believe around 3 or 4 counselors did this year was around academic counseling and teaching academic skills after there was a identification that there were a lot of students struggling with completion of work or time management or focus. And so that was really amazing to see. So I'm just gonna highlight something from the slide and then move on. Yes, okay, next up, Bridget.
So one thing I'm going to talk about here is minute meetings. So I'm kind of the new person on the block. I just started in October. And so the beauty of this, the minute meetings, I was able to meet with like almost 125 sixth graders for 1 minute. And they loved it because I got to find out so many great things about them, like, you know, their name, but then their superpower and what their hobbies are. And then ultimately, and they're super smart too, like what they want, their superpower and stuff. So, you know, sneak into the staff room and see what the teachers are eating, blah, blah. And hear the secrets. And then, but then ultimately the question is like, do you want to have a counselor see you or reach out to you later and stuff? So it was, not only was I able to get to know the kids, but also it helps me to be in relationship with them and get to know them. And then when they come in, I'm like, oh yeah, your superpower is da-da-da. So yeah, it's really good. And then they feel like they're, again, this is sixth graders, so then they're feeling welcome at Ben Franklin. So is that what we want? Yeah.
And one of the things we wanted to highlight, if you could skip to the next slide, Pam, is we almost had a full sweep of the county-wide tobacco use prevention education PSA competitions in almost every category. So JESD almost sweeps every year, so it's not our first time, but it is a very big accomplishment, and it's a lot of work on the coordinators at each site. And this is a program that's specific to middle school, that we're a part of a special cohort in the county. So we have it at FDR, Ben Franklin, Thomas R. Policita, and Fernando Rivera.
That's still you.
And another highlight that I'm really, really proud of, because it was a collective effort. It was not just one thing, but it's ongoing dedication to figuring out better ways to support students when they make mistakes. And so Pam and I are continuing our restorative practice cohorts, which is really life-changing, to be honest. I had a conversation today with one of our participants, and we just were relating in a lot of ways around the things that influenced us in our decision-making and who supported us after we did make mistakes, and just really trying to think that way when our students also go through those situations. Because I do want to emphasize school is probably the best place for them to figure things out, because there's so many people that care, understand, have patience, have dedication to supporting youth in their development into adulthood. So I really am grateful that I have support and that we're continuing the work and we're continuing to push forward and create really creative ways that support change in youth, and that will hopefully in turn give us a community that responds to conflict in better ways. So just to highlight as well, where our suspension rate is down in both in-house and out-of-school suspension. But I also want to emphasize that when the students return, we are continuing to ask critical questions about what we could have done differently and what kind of support needs to be in place so that kind of situation doesn't happen again. But, we're doing the best we can, so we still have some situations. Thank you. So a couple of other highlights. These are very unique to school sites. I'm going to pass it over to Jamie. She's going to present on 2 unique programs. I would say there's probably unique programs and activities at every single site, but these are 2 that I feel really proud of, and I'm proud that Jamie is here to talk about them.
Hello, everybody. So I'm going to be talking about the Care Closet, which is something that I started at George Washington last school year, and some numbers on the right. So basically, it is a take what you need kind of system. It's a place where students can access basic items, chapstick, hairbrush, hair tie, a snack, period products, whatever it is. We also have bigger items like lunch boxes and backpacks that we usually are dispersing in the beginning of the year and then as the year goes on as well. But how I've kind of run it is at the beginning of the school year, each sorry, that threw me. Thank you. Each class comes into my room, and these are my closets in the back of the room, and they kind of get like a little tour. And with that, we talk about need versus want. It's really cool to actually hear from them, because they'll be like, oh, so, if a student was to, their house had a fire, or they're able to start thinking and start having that empathy of when someone might need something versus, I just really want that cool new backpack, or I really want a snack today. But it's like, okay, did I get my free breakfast? Did I have a snack? Like, do I really need it right now? So it's also led to those great conversations. Last school year, the Care Closet was accessed about 280 times. This year, we're already at 530 times by students. The data I collect has nothing to do with names or who the student is, but is really just what is the item and what is the grade level. That way, I can be able to share things like this of how many of each product. It's mainly my 4th and 5th graders. Most common items, snacks, of course, but second being period products. And so just making sure that all students have whatever they need so that they can truly focus on what is important when they're at school, not if their hair is done, or if they didn't have time to brush their teeth in the morning, or if they're moving from house to house and they don't have a new clean shirt or they don't have a jacket because it's cold outside. Obviously, with Daly City weather, being kids will come in like snowsuits and it's 90 degrees or 80 degrees that day. So being able to also for that, and then as well as a lot of our clothing, people getting from the clear closet is really if like, we have TK to 5th grade, so if there's accidents, spills, things like that. So it's been really cool, and it's been really lovely to see it grow as well. And then the next one is a highlight from Susan B. Anthony. Jocelyn, the counselor, couldn't join us, but this year she began a kindness club focused with the 4th and 5th graders. And actually, to add to that, a few of our other counselors, myself included, took the idea as well and brought it back to our site. So we have a few sites that have these kindness clubs, and she was able to do some really cool work with it. They helped to plan the kindness week in February, as well as running activities for their big community night that they had. And it's short, it's about a minute, and it's from the kids. If we can click on the video, the Kindness Club Recess Ambassadors. They explain it better than I can.
What does it mean if someone is wearing a blue shirt on the yard? Blue shirts mean that the person is part of the Kindness Club. Kindness Club members are spreading kindness during recess. If you want someone to play with, find someone in a blue shirt. If you want someone to join a game but you aren't sure how, find someone in a blue shirt. You are sitting on the bunny bench. Someone in a blue shirt will ask you if you want to play. Or they might ask what you want to do so you can enjoy recess. Kindness Club members are there to offer friendship and kindness. So if you need a friend, go find a blue shirt. And don't forget to be kind!
Yeah, so kindness clubs, like I said, a few other schools have adopted it, and something that we hope to continue to grow on, to have at all of our schools and to kind of work on as well. So thank you so much.
All right, so I will be talking about the lessons we delivered this school year. So here's a list of the lessons we've delivered from TK through 5th. We do have a core curriculum where we cover bully prevention, healthy friendships, coping skills, emotion regulation, growth mindset, diversity, kindness, and college and career. So currently we're finishing college and career in the month of May, but one that really stands out to me is the bully prevention one, where we really try to educate students what bullying means, giving them that language so they're able to identify it, get help, and teaching students what an upstander is versus a bystander. That way they could help a friend. Also, making sure students know who to identify in the school so they could go to that person and ask for help. So we really worked together this school year as counselors to really work on helping the student identify at least one person on the school site that they feel very comfortable with. So in our lessons, that was one of the main questions we asked, and we had every student try to identify one. If they didn't identify one, we definitely did that one-to-one check-in to help them think through. That's all I have.
Okay, so, not only are we meeting with kids for like SEL issues and all the things, but as we were just talking about, we also deliver lessons in the classroom. So for 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you can see that there's a lot that we do for all across the entire middle school. And I think for me, the one that I taught this year was on digital citizenship. And I loved it because, as you know, 95% or whatever of the issues that come through my door are about phones and social media and et cetera, et cetera. So it was a really good lesson on talking to kids about like how we can be responsible with our phones and, and that sort of thing. So that's been really good. So we'll probably work on that more next year. And then we also have the two-pay prevention curriculum too that we're going through. But all of these are done, have been doing, we're still working on. We just started Teen Talk we're starting Teen Talk next week, if you know what that means.
Okay, and another highlight, super excited. It's a very hard task, but it has been very rewarding for us. Our district attendance support team is myself, the community schools coordinator. We have 2 family liaisons, and then we also have our resource officer that attends to most of the meetings. And then we have the site administrators and the counselors attending these meetings. So this year, we're still seeing high numbers of attendance concerns. But it's been an ongoing issue that we've tried to really understand what the root cause is so that we could have interventions that work and feel supportive and maintain positive relationships with our families so that our students can thrive in our schools and not miss more school because of our relationship. So we've seen an 85% improvement, and a lot of the things that we're doing is just checking in with families. Our family liaisons check in with the families weekly. How are the routines going? Or did you need a resource? Or do you need help with anything? So just check-ins have been really helpful. We've also been running parent cafes ongoing all year. We also support them in crisis, food bank, care closet, and then referrals to mental health services. So those types of interventions contributed to our 85% increase in all of those SARB referrals. Still me. Okay, and we also, in expansion to our family liaison support, we have gone over 200 as of today. We are receiving referrals almost every day. So we have around 200 families that we've managed up top with that team. Consulting, supporting, referring. Some of them are ongoing, and some of them we close up once we're feeling like they're doing okay and they feel stable. We've also been really proud of our food distribution. And so, when I looked at the pounds of food, that was crazy to eat that. That just number really stood out to me. But also over 5,000 families. The lines are long at every distribution. So I'm just really proud of the work of our liaisons and Luisa Santos, who's been really driving that part of our family service and the care closet service.
Can I get a motion from our time, please?
Sorry. This is pretty much our last slide.
Motion for an additional 10 minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. So up next is another really proud project, if you will, is that we started student advisory councils at every site last year. They gave me feedback on the topic that I chose was sense of belonging, but the topic that they chose was also food services. And so it was really great to have a full circle year in really pushing our sense of belonging. Some of our counselors started to do more lunch bunch groups, just relationship building, connections with students. We have Friendship Fridays, Welcome Wednesdays, so different types of assemblies that really encourage students to build connections with each other or be recognized for their strengths across all of their characteristics, not just academic achievement. But also sense of belonging had a lot to do with their identities and how they felt seen and known. And so there was other ideas that came out of their feedback around free dress days and different spirit days and having culturally inclusive activities added to the school year, and just different types of ways that we can see students. So that was really amazing. So we have an increase in our SEL survey results, and we did have a bit of a decrease, and I put an asterisk by it because after we asked students about why we maybe dipped in sense of belonging, some of the things that they came up with were actually not related to the question. They were very external, if you will. So we realize our students aren't understanding our questions. So we really want to work hard on explaining what we're asking and what examples, not driving their answers, but they really don't get it sometimes when we're asking them questions that we understand. And then for food service, it's been amazing. I was up here not too long ago with Anita King. She's been a really great partner in this work. And we've already started to make improvements, as you can see. And the students' feedback, one of the things that I was really interested to learn is if they were willing to continue their student voice. And almost 50% of our responses said yes, we would like to be more involved in the decision making around food services, which makes sense. So that work has also been supported by our wellness committee, and that will continue next year as well. So very proud of that. I think we could skip this. Glows and grows. It's pretty self-explanatory. And I'm going to have our counselor end us on a counseling note.
Being at elementary, I get to do all of the things with the cute little guys and all of that. So we wanted to bring it into this space. This is from our Komochi's curriculum, which is present in our preschool, actually, starting this year, preschool to 5th grade, as well as some of our middle schools might have some signage or some of the materials that go along with it, but it's really focused in our elementary. And so this is one of the kodawazas, which means wise words in Japanese. And so friendly faces create friendly places. And so there's a lot of different ones of these that go with different feelings that just are kind of these quick little sayings that we can say, and also that we have visual as well. So I thought it was poignant for this group. So thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you so much for the presentation. So before I get to my fellow board trustees, I am going to jump the line, and I'm going to just comment on how I want to say I'm impressed by the suspension rates being down 57% and the in-house suspension rates down 44% from working at a school site. I know how incredibly impressive that is. I also know through seeing another document that those numbers are accurate, or at least being reported to us accurate, so thank you for that service and for what you do to our district. All right, so then I will pass it to my left this time.
Yes, I have a question about discipline updates. I was rebel when I was in school, but also my question is, when something happened with a student, do we address if the student has an IEP? If he needs a therapy, do we ask the family what need they are to refer them before going in all those, to see their internal, external environment?
Yes, we ask a lot of questions. You can see, we ask a lot of questions, and we also offer students opportunities to speak with someone who they feel safe with, because really we see it as a learning opportunity, but also an opportunity to repair the harm that they did, or if the person who was harmed, for them to speak about how it's impacted them. So a lot of the investigation is about what happened, what led to that, and also taking into consideration the age and the developmental stage and the factors that were in around the students when things happen. So my admin are extremely diligent, and they're extremely caring, and take it very seriously when they have an incident. It's almost as if we really care for our schools, and we really don't want anything to happen that's harmful. So they take it very, very serious, but they also understand the population that they work with, which is children. So there's factors.
Thank you, and I can see all the work that you guys are doing. Really, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question.
Oh, I have one more comment. The care closet is just in George Washington?
Yes and no. I know that there's, I think, no, they don't have it anymore. I'm not sure. I think that there is a version of it at a few schools. I know one of the big things is, and kind of since I started in this district, we've always had like the plethora of backpacks with like some school supplies and stuff. That's like, I think almost every site has backpacks. One thing that I've really enjoyed about doing this is on our Google chat, a counselor from a different school will say, hey, I really need it's hard because I have elementary sized backpacks. But someone will be like, hey, I really need a backpack for a student. And we're like, okay, done, I'll drop it off, or I'll put it in the pony mail, like something like that. So it's also it's stationed at my school, but it's also available for the other counselors. I've also sent things over to Luisa Santos as well for our district care closet. So it's something that hopefully we can get it in every school.
Yeah, great idea.
Thank you. Excuse me. I go way back with Miss Martinez, and it's just amazing to see the growth, you know, from when you were a counselor at Ben Franklin to all the great work you're doing now. And it's lovely to see your team. I see that you're very cohesive. You all love what you do. You know, I'm also a case manager in a high school, and counselors should be my best friends, right? So, so keep up the great work. I really love it. So one thing that I enjoyed seeing was the focus on kindness and your knowledge that, you know, the students, if they're hungry, if they're cold, if they're tired or whatever, they can't even learn really. So thank you for focusing on that. And then as was mentioned, I really am impressed by the suspension rates going down, but also, you know, excuse me, I would think that the in-school suspension rates might go up if the suspension rates are going down, but the fact that they're both going down is great to hear. So thank you.
I want to just echo my fellow trustee sentiments. Thank you so much for this presentation and all the hard work that you're doing. I know it's not easy to be a counselor. You probably have to deal with your own mental health. You may take some of that work home with you. And so I just want to acknowledge the hard work that you're doing and really appreciate you for that. I have a couple questions. The first one is on the care closets. How are we determining what needs to be in them, and how are we funding to replenish what's being used?
Great question. The beginning of it, I kind of just went for very basic needs. The reason why we have what we have is actually because of the students. Every time, like I said, when they come in at the beginning of the year, they see the closet, I send them away with little papers. There's also some in the care closet up on a board for them to tell me what they need, for them to tell me what should be in there. And so a lot of those items have come directly from the students telling me. As far as what's in the care closet, we have this past school year partnered with a sorority at SF State, Phi Sigma Sigma, and we become kind of like having this mutual relationship where we have students who actually also come and volunteer in our classrooms, as well as they have run their own fundraisers where they've donated things to our community as well, which has been a really cool thing to bridge, and then also to continue, like we said, May is college and career, being able to show them like, this is a college student, this is what a sorority is, and that kind of thing. So it's really helped that partnership, as well as they've been able to fill a void and fill a kind of like that means for us.
Thank
All
you.
right, so
I'd like to motion for more time. I'd like to motion for 7 minutes.
10.
Second.
10 minutes.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Continue.
Okay. Then my next question is on the, I guess, the workshops that were had. Someone was mentioning earlier that they had met with 130 something students. Are you getting all of those students by, like, are you picking them? Are they volunteering? And if you're picking them, do you have any students that maybe are shy, don't want to speak up? And how do you get them out of their shell to make sure that you're incorporating everyone's voice into the conversation?
Yeah, so mine were the sixth graders, and basically I literally had a table and chair outside the classroom, and so they would just go by row, and every kid came out and spoke to me, because it's just one-on-one. So there was nobody said they didn't want to do it. It was really sweet, actually. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love them.
I'm happy to hear that everyone wanted to participate.
wanted
That's
to-
really
yeah,
great.
we're
Okay, and then this may be my last question. So on the lessons delivered, I noticed that for the elementary school, diversity was in every single. Can someone just give me a quick snapshot of what that is exactly?
It depends on the age level or the age, but one of the diversity lessons, like for fourth grade, is like creating a puzzle, right? Where I give each student a puzzle piece to create, like, what does it mean to you? What is your ethnicity? And then once they finish it, I say, okay, go around and see if you could attach it to another piece. And in reality, all the pieces come together and we all belong. And teaching them that no matter where you come from, we all have something in common. We're all human. And this is how the pieces come together. And then they create a big collage about the puzzle, and we post it like on our school.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And then it's similar on the same topic for lessons delivered. I noticed that for 7th and 8th, they do, or you did a addressing racist language, but not for 6th grade. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, just because I've had experience in our school district, unfortunately, actually with my elementary student who had another student with racist language and racist comments. So I guess I'm wondering why only 7th and 8th were chosen, noting that that kind of language actually happens throughout all the grade levels.
I'd have to see this. I think actually we do, it's called No Place for Hate, and it's actually 6th, 7th, 8th, so that might be a typo in there maybe, but we do that curriculum for all the grades. And within that, we're talking about hate speech and derogatory terms and all the things, so yeah, we covered.
Perfect, thank you.
And just to add for the elementary, when we are doing the diversity lessons, is we're also, we have a focus on kindness, and obviously it's a younger group of students, but we're also using correct terminology, and we're also giving them a space where they can reflect and also speak on what their experiences have been like, and also speaking about really, in elementary, we're really embracing the diversity that's in the classroom, and saying like, no matter, hair texture, skin color, or the way you speak, or what language is spoken at home, what you bring for lunch during school, just naming all of these things and really finding a way for students to also feel empowered to ask questions, to be curious to their classmates, as well as to adults in the room as well, but how do we do it in a kind way? How do we do it in a way like, oh, that's so cool that you speak that language, can you teach me? So really making moments where they're able to not ignore the diversity that's in the room, but rather celebrate the diversity in the room.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. I actually had a quick follow-up question about the minute counseling sessions, and I'm wondering if you were able to measure if that resulted in an increase in students scheduling full counseling sessions.
Good question. I mean, I on my caseload are the 6th graders, and so I have, yes, is a short answer. No, but I get to see them a lot, which is great. But I mean, I think it was just a good moment for us to, get to know each other, and then they see me, Miss Bridget, So we had a whole moment where we could actually bond, and I can ask them about questions, follow up with them and stuff. So when they're in my sessions, how's whatever going, or because we do talk. There's one question where it asks about how they feel about being at school, and on a range from 1 to 10, and most were actually pretty high, and there were a couple that weren't, and those were the people that I would reach out to right away. But yeah, does that help?
And I just wanted to add, this was a shift for us because when I was in the building, it was mostly about responsive counseling, so something would have to happen. We've been shifted away from that model for a long time. But time is hard, right? Individual time. So this was developed by Fernando Rivera counselors first, and then it caught on for the rest of the team. And it's a way for us to make sure that every student gets a touch point with the counselor, a one-on-one touch point. Prevention.
Well, I just wanted to comment, I'm really impressed with the innovation that you've put forward, with an example like that. And, just with the number and variety of topics, very important topics that you're covering, for counseling, with the resources that you are extending to our families and our communities, as a real service. And I'm really encouraged to hear, I remember the presentation about the Kindness Club, and that's encouraging that it has expanded to other schools, and maybe the same could happen with the care closet, since it sounds like a great initiative as well. Thank you.
you all made us motion to continue talking about you twice. And the reason I mention that is because the reason we motion is because it's something important we need to continue talking about, something that we want our community to know about. So I just wanted to emphasize that we see the value in what you do. We motion twice for you. So thank us and thank you. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, every time the student support services come in, along with all of our other many superstars in the district, we are very thankful to hear all the improvements. It's not only the same information over again, it's here's what happened last year and now here's what we've done, and more people show up and more things are happening in our district, and it's always new, and that's something that we really like to see. We appreciate that you put data at the front. We appreciate that you only said one thing on each slide, maybe two, because we can read, which we appreciate. So if there are no other questions or comments.
I have one really fast. I was a volunteer for the food bank, and I noticed there were some parents that were working full-time and they were not able to pick up the food.
Yes.
I wonder if that was a while ago, but I wonder if that has been a way to address it for parents who we have as students.
Yeah, so our process is we typically get families into the food bank services by referral. Anybody can refer in our district, and I've also opened it up for some of our key community partnerships in Daly City. And so our support around that with our family liaisons is that they'll identify a family who cannot make it to the food bank. So we deliver it to the school, and we leave it at the front office, and we coordinate that the family will pick it up that day. Yeah, so we always get families what they need.
And with that, thank you for focusing on board goals 1 through 3. Have a good, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, number 9D, contracted services, City of Daly City Parks and Recreation. The administration recommends approval of the City of Daly City Parks and Recreation after-school-based program contract in the amount of $1,041,701.57 for the 25-26 school year. Schools participating are Daniel Webster, Fernando Rivera, MP Brown, MH Tobias, and newly added Thomas Edison. This program will be funded by After School Education and Safety and Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP. If there are any comments or questions, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 9E, contracted services, American Youth Soccer Organization. The administration recommends approval of the American Youth Soccer Organization after-school enrichment program contract in the amount of $98,046 for the 25-26 school year. Schools participating are Ben Franklin, Daniel Webster, Fernando Rivera, Garden Village, George Washington, JFK, MP Brown, MH Tobias, Thomas Edison, and Westlake. This program will be funded by the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP. If there are any comments or questions, otherwise I will entertain a motion.
I had a question. Are any of the coaches from our district?
No.
I have a question. Will every student that's a part of the after-school program have access to this, or because I know that you can only have a certain amount of people playing soccer at a time, how does that work? And if we don't have the answer, if you could send a message on it later, that would be fine.
We have our program director of expanded learning in the audience, and she gave me the thumbs up, so
Perfect.
that's a yes.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the contract with American Youth Soccer Organization.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 10A, certificated retirement. The administration recommends approval of the retirement request from James Adams, Special Education Director, SPED, effective July 1st, 2025, and requests the appropriate resolution be prepared commending him for his years of service with the district. Dr. Adams has been employed with the district since March 20th of 2000. Are there any comments or questions, or Mr. Valenti, if you'd like to say anything? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was mentioned earlier today, we had our employee appreciation event over at the Colma Center, Community Center. And we had hundreds of years of experience and staff there, and it was just so exciting. Dr. Adams was recognized for his 25 years, his retirement. He was up dancing. He was so excited, and I just want to wish him the best, of luck in his future endeavors, and all of those folks that were there today celebrating with us. It was just a great event. Board member Flamenco was there, and I think the energy was great, and it was so good to see such high energy. We even went past 5 o'clock. So thank you to Dr. Adams for all his service, and for everybody today who was at the event in their service.
Thank you, Ms. Valenti. All right, any comments or questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I just want to say that even though this is my first year, I could see and experience how much people loved him and care for him and appreciate all the work he has done. So thank you.
All right, I motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Dr. Adams. All right, item 11A, March 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates, first reading. The board will review and revise board policy / administrative regulations / board bylaws from March 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates as stated in a first reading. Are there any comments or questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 12A, Board Study Session CSBA and AXA 2025 Washington, D.C. Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy Trip. Board members Shaquille Ali, Nadia Flamenco, Andrea Jordan, and Anthony Sujisaka will highlight some of their learnings as well as give a report about their attendance at the CSBA and, I should probably read that, California School Board Association, CSBA, and Association of California School Administrators, AXA, 4th Annual Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy Trip to Washington, D.C. from April 28th to 30th, 2025. All right, and then do we have any volunteers to go first? All right, then I will. All right, so my reflections from the CSBA advocacy trip. So one of the best things I think about being an elected representative, which I never thought I'd say that, is actually getting to go to a place where we are meant to be doing the advocacy work for education, where we actually get to speak to the people who are making these decisions, or the chiefs of staff who are supporting the people making those decisions, but really making sure that we are bringing the key points that we want to bring up to them, what we want to see in our schools, in our states, in our counties, in our districts. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that I took from that was they structure the event so that we had a lot of learning to do, whether you're an educator or not. Definitely, I think it's definitely different for Trustee Ali and myself being educators. We have a different perspective, but then all of us attend these sessions and we really get a chance to understand the politics from a different level. We also get to understand how the days are going to work. We also get to see where all the action happens and how small the White House actually is. But on top of everything, it was really a great experience for all of us too. I know that the 4 of us that went, most of the time that we would spend there, because we're 3 hours ahead, we would spend the time trying to get out and learn about our nation's capital and get to see, the monuments at night, but really get to experience what that's really like, but then also amongst ourselves. And I think being cohesive as a board is one of the very few reasons I actually love being a part of this board, on top of all the advocacy things and elective representative things that we do. One of my favorite things is getting to sit here, be with a cohesive board where we actually, somewhat like our superintendent. And, we really we all get along. And that's one of my favorite things about the board. So that's really all the reflection I have, is just how thankful I am to be on this board and how much I feel for other board members and superintendents who are attending that conference who may not have those same sentiments that we do. I yield the rest of my time.
In my personal experience, I was born in El Salvador, and for me, I have heard about the U.S. history, but like I said to my fellows, it was I think this trip it should be for every student in U.S. They should go to Washington D.C. and really touch history, whatever has been good or bad, but it was so important to read about all the people that die in so many wars, seeing the symbols that represent freedom and what we're doing till today. So that's one of the things. And then, of course, the way all of us advocate in the presence of the assistant of Kevin Mullen and Ricardo. But we, in our own different experience, we are advocating for education in different ways. I was in immigration. Andrea was putting other topics on. It was internet, right? Internet.
Yes, for cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity. Shaquille was advocating about housing, and you were advocating about. Remind me. I forgot.
There were a lot of ones.
Yeah.
There were
But
a lot
anyways, but what it was so interesting is that from our own experience of life, we were talking about and how we can build a better society for our students, for our community. So that was really impactful. Plus all the walking that we had together, and we experienced the beauty of USA and what we represent as nation, how our history have fight for freedom, and that's the best thing that I still feel like every student should go there. Yeah. Yes, we do have some pictures. So that's the whole representative from all California that came to the coast to coast federal advocacy. And I'm not going to tell you where is Waldo, but we're around there. The next one. And, those are the pictures that to me, when I was landing, I was like, oh my God, I'm seeing it right now, right there. And it's just beautiful, all the history that is behind all those buildings, how many people have been there. I was able to go to the church where all the presidents have their own space. I had the picture, but I didn't put it. That's when we went to the Capitol, all these seminars that we had. And we were going back and forth. And I had to put it there. And Andrea is there, before we go into session to speaking with Kevin Mullen, assistant, and Tony. We went to Kennedy together. So just a little bit, yeah.
So this was my first time in Washington, D.C., and so it was kind of a surreal experience, quite honestly. I didn't grow up in the United States. I grew up in Nigeria, so I didn't actually learn American history. A lot of the history that I learned was in college, and even then, people look at me and they automatically think, you know what's going on. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So it was an education for me to be on grounds where our founding fathers have walked, made decisions. If you've actually watched or seen the play Hamilton, there's a song that says "In the room where it happens." And so when we got into the Capitol building the day that we were speaking to the chief of staff and our representatives, it was like, wow, these are the halls, these are the rooms where decisions have been made that are affecting not just the entire country, but specifically our district. And so it felt heavy, but despite our political climate, it doesn't matter what side you're on, it was also very hopeful. And what I realized from that experience is that at the end of the day, regardless of what left, right side you're on, we are all on boards because we care about our students. And because we care about our students, there's a lot of tension and statements that are made that sometimes is just misinformation, where people just don't truly understand each other. And we are not robots. We're not meant to all think alike. Actually, I don't believe in groupthink. I've probably said that in a meeting before. I think it's super important to listen to varying ideas, varying ways to do things, because at the end of the day, when you listen, and actually listen to hear and not to respond, you may hear something that makes you change your mind about what you have thought through or what you are advocating for. And it really allowed me to listen to board members that had varying thoughts than I did and really think differently. It's like, okay, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. And even if I don't fully agree, I can see why you feel that way and why we need to work better together to come up with a solution versus, well, you know, one party versus another party. It is not about the parties, especially being on a school board. It's supposed to be nonpartisan, and we should be coming together, talking through the issues and coming up with solutions together and not divided. And so that's what I really got out of it. And it was really, again, hopeful that we do have people that are listening to hear and understand versus listen to speak and solve problems without understanding what they're trying to solve for. We did have specific priorities that we focused on: housing and housing, workforce investments, technology and students. So like I said, cybersecurity, school finance, school meals. Those are some of the topics we covered. And we worked with other school districts, and we basically had a planning session, and we said, okay, what are you going to tackle? And it was like, the power in the numbers. If we are all going for the same things, then hopefully someone is going to hear and hopefully move something forward. Another thing that we had supported was reauthorization of secure rural schools. Doesn't affect us, but again, we went there as the state of California, and it's like, okay, this may not be affecting your district, but if it's affecting another district, how can we support you in getting what you need to move your priorities forward? And so again, it was about this collaboration regardless of your feelings. The other thing that I realized is it's really about influence. I think a lot of people, and it was a presentation today that said relationships, and a lot of people forget that these congressmen, senators, they are people. And at the end of the day, you need to build a relationship with them. You can't speak one time and expect them to remember. They probably have thousands of people emailing them, thousands of people writing letters, people that have come in and out just like we did speaking. And it's about relationships, following up, making sure you understand your policies, the bills that are being put out on the floor. And essentially for me, it's how do we motivate people and influence people to get done what your agenda is by making it their agenda as well. And I think we need to, again, focus on collaboration, focus on listening to people, and focusing on influencing and building those relationships, and not just expecting an ask to just happen because you want it to happen. And that was essentially my experience at the Capitol.
Thank you, Trustee Jordan. All right, Trustee Ali.
Thank you. Yes, it was a blessing to be able to go to Washington, D.C. once again with the school board, representing our state and advocating for our youth and our families here. Since Trustee Jordan mentioned a few things we talked about, I'll just go ahead and highlight and summarize, what we did as well. So as Trustee Jordan mentioned, we had federal briefings, and I brought back information for Superintendent Mikulik and your cabinet. So we had the impact of technology on students and schools, teacher housing and workforce, federal funding in California, and as Trustee Jordan mentioned, the reauthorization of the Secure Rural Schools Act. So I'll give those to Superintendent. And so as far as federal priorities, so as we mentioned, this is a partnership. When we go out there, we're going with administrators and school board members So one of the things that we were together supporting was funding for educator preparation and development programs. So we talked a lot about teacher internship programs and other innovative ways to get more teachers into the profession, and funding to address pre-development studies for other districts that want to build workforce housing. There's also supporting what they call the E-rate program and urge greater funding to expand area access to connectivity and activities including Wi-Fi access on school transportation vehicles. We also wanted to beef up protecting our online privacy in the districts. We also talked about school meals and combating food insecurity. They mentioned that California in 2021, we authorized universal free meals for all students. So we want to keep supporting that. What else? Every student Succeeds Act. So we want to support increased funding for all aspects of special education. There was also a panel, well, not a panel, but we were lobbying with the Congress people about this topic. We also advocated for this last year as well, and brought up the fact that there's all these federal mandates for special ed, but then we don't get the money to provide the services. So let me see. I think for the most part that covers it. And I just think that I'll mention what Trustee Flamenco said. You better say what you said when we were there. So, people might have mixed emotions when you're talking about the government of this country and just, being in that district. And what I felt, though, when we were inside, especially inside the Capitol building, because we're right there where we saw people barge their way in. And but I just kept thinking about how many people in my family and even people here in the community will never get that opportunity to be inside the Capitol building. So I just tried to take advantage of every second that I was in there and soak it all up once again. Thank you.
All right, thank you to my fellow board trustees for your reflections. All right, item 13, governance team member comments, reports, future agenda items, and board meeting reflection. All right, and then I will start on my left.
You start.
Okay, I know how to rise to the
We're gonna get you
occasion.
practice. We're gonna practice alternating.
I just want to say that we did a good job of, as usual, as focusing on what's in the best interest of our students. And like I mentioned before, it always brings me so much joy to see the counselors and the joy that they have serving our students. And I'm just very, I feel good tonight. Thank you.
Okay, I want to say, for me, when I was in the Capitol too, I felt I represent a group, in this case, a Latino community, being able to speak up for education and for the things as Latinos we need. But I just want to leave you guys with the same words that impact me the most. It was seeing all these names, the people that died for this country. It was really impressive how many people have give their life for a value of freedom, and that's the value we all should keep in our minds, how to continue with this. We were lucky to live in America, and I can say it from my background in El Salvador. We're lucky to be here, and you should fight for that, for what you believe as well. Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better than you did. I number one, I feel so blessed to be able to be on this board, to be able to advocate for what I believe in. And I encourage everyone that is listening or that's in the crowd that if come to our board meetings, if you see something or hear something that you want to change, be the change you want to see. Don't talk about it with your friends and don't take action. Talk about it with people that can make the action, that can make the change for you. I really want to say thank you to everyone that attended tonight. Thank you to all the students and their parents for attending, and congratulations to everyone from the teachers today that were acknowledged, to the retirees, to our students, the spelling bee, to all the things that are happening in our district, to our graduates that are coming up. There's just so much that's happening in our district right now, and there's so much to be thankful for, trying to focus on the positive and less on the negative. And I'm just really grateful for this board. I think Trustee Sujisaka said this earlier. We are really a cohesive board, and the time that we have together allows us to get stronger and better governing this district and doing what we care for, which is keeping our focus on the best interests of our students.
So, as the one board member who did not attend Coast to Coast, I want to thank all of you, my fellow trustees, for going because I really believe that advocacy is extremely important. I believe that there is no more important investment that we can make as a country, as a state, at every level than public education. So I really want to thank you for going there and standing up for our district and our state and education. And, you know, as Trustee Jordan so eloquently said, there are so many great things happening in our district and so many ways to get involved. So everyone can be an advocate by showing up at the meeting tonight, as many did, by all the great events and committees and other ways to get involved. So I would really encourage everybody in the community to be part of our district, and I certainly share in the gratitude that you expressed for being on this board and the work that we do together on behalf of our students and our community. Thank you.
Again, I echo all my fellow board trustees' sentiments. I think, darn, I had something really good I wanted to say, and I just forgot it. That's the whole thing about ADHD. It's really hard to remember those kind of things. Well, first of all, we'll extend our gratitude to Ms. Scott for helping with slides tonight. So thank you for taking on that role of slide master. Yes, and then thank you, Mr. Valenti, for grabbing that clicker. Again, I think it was really along the lines of just what you all said, where we really are a cohesive board. Oh, that's what it was. At our advocacy trip, the one thing that you mentioned was, four of us went, and we, I think, had the most members of any board that I saw. Mm-hmm. At my place of work, 2 of my own school board members were there, and I got to meet with them, but they were the only 2 out of 7 that actually showed up. So the percentage of our board that went, even though you didn't go, that we're like 80% of us was still really good. And like all the boards that we sat with at our meetings, they didn't have 4 members. So I just want to say that was one of the things that, again, another thing I love about this board is we actually show up and do the advocacy that we say we're going to do. And again, Trustee Rashba, you do plenty. That's okay, you didn't do this. You do plenty of other things, and we acknowledge your contributions to this district as well. With that being said, I have no other further comments. So, oh, yes, we have one more comment.
I forgot to mention that I did get some very good reading, and I'd like to go to any schools that will have me. And I know there's one school that I haven't been to that I promised I would go to, so please invite me back. So good night, Washington, D.C.
Thank you so much. All right.
One comment. So Trustee Flamenco did mention that she thinks that it would be a great idea for all students to go. So I would like to at some time think through, like, what have we done to assist with children going to, I know that we've done it. I don't think it's widely done all the time. I know it's expensive. I get the coordination with teachers and parents and cost, but I would love to understand how we can get more students to, again, it's different when someone is watching a video or showing you pictures. Again, I'd never been there before, but being there was, I don't know how to explain it. Being on the ground in a place where history was made, it's just a different experience. And then obviously we live in San Francisco. It's a beautiful place, but you have to pay to go into all the museums. The museums are free. And so it's like they're giving you the history. They're telling you to take it. How can we get people to actually take it? And I would love to talk through how we could find grants or funding to help with that.
So are you recommending a future board action, or are you asking for information?
I'm maybe asking for information from Superintendent Mikulik on what we've done and how we can help. And then maybe after we get that information, we can come back as a board and talk through, is there something we can do? I already know we're talking about programs and funding and all of those things. So I don't want to say that this is more important than all the other things we're doing, but I will say that me being there, I was like, I feel like every single American should do this. It just doesn't make sense that not more people are doing that. And I think we also saw so many students in groups, and I was like, well, I want our school to be in groups going and doing this stuff. And so how can we make that happen, I guess is the question.
Got it. And just a clarification, thank you. All right. If there are no other comments or questions on board reflection, we'll move to item number 14, persons wishing to address the board on closed session items. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on an item addressed in closed session. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. Ms. Covray, do we have a speaker
Excuse me, President. Did the superintendent get a chance to make comments? She's part of the governance team.
I can make a comment if you want. I usually let the board say their comments. I did hear what you asked, and we actually annually, pre-pandemic, we had schools go to Washington, D.C. on the trip. I think pandemic changed that, but I will look into it again. I just want to thank all of our staff. I mean, this past month has been appreciation month, really, but I want to appreciate our staff all year round. I appreciate in our Ed Services newsletter that we do shout outs and gratitude. And so I always try to put in some gratitude every week. I want to appreciate someone. So next week is classified School Employee Appreciation Week. We had Teacher Appreciation Week. We had Counselor Week. We had Librarian Week. We've had Food Services. So, everyone works really hard, and our students are thriving, and there's always growth but to be had, but I think we're in a great trajectory, and I'm excited to see what we can do. And I want to thank our cabinet and all our administrators, everyone, because it's a system, it's a team, and we can't do it without each other. And I want to thank you as the board for supporting all this work. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Ali. All right, and then there are no speaker cards, correct? Excellent, thank you. All right, and then I just want to briefly say before we go to recess, no action will be taken during closed session, so we will not be reporting out after closed session. All right, we are going to take a 5-minute recess, and it is 9:22, so be in the room at 9:27 p.m. Thank you, everybody.